What up, people? It's your boy, Master Chudy out here with another comic review. I mean, not comic review, but, another video. So, Sonic came out later tonight, and I've made it a goal of mine to see it this weekend, either tomorrow or Saturday. I really need to see it. Um, it from what I'm hearing from, fans, people have watched it. I've watched a couple of non-spoiler reviews. People really like it. And it's not just that it's a good family friendly film, it's that people who really like this character, who have grown up with the cartoon show, played the video games. Um, Sonic in my childhood, I never really got into it, but my sister did. And she used to do her art. A huge fan of Shadow, Tails, Knuckles, Sonic, um, the whole crew. You know, it impacted. It made a lot of kids who are my age very happy in the '90s. And I watched the Sonic show, not the '80s one, but like the Four Kids one that used to come on. An occasional episode at the time. So to get backtrack to the point, you hear a lot of people who really love Sonic, who are interested in his lore, who are into his story, who love the video games, really say great things about this movie, that it respects itself, obviously, but it also respects its fans. It respects its source material, and it tries a couple of little things new here and there. I've heard great things about Sonic's voice actor. His name eludes me at the moment because it's not one of the names I know well. I've heard great things from about Jim Carrey, of course, and James Marsden has done a very good job. And it's good. It's good to see Jim Carrey, especially from what I've heard. He's really into the role. He really does a great job. Um, he's comfortable. He's in his zone, just like how he was in Living Color and all of his other comedies. Other family comedies, Jim Carrey is doing what Jim Carrey does, which I think is great. Um, but what does this mean moving forward? I think it means a couple of things. One, if this movie meets its success, which I hope it does, I think people say it might do 40, $45 million, which I think is, pretty good. I'd hope it meets that range. I'd very much like to see it do 50 mil if possible, because, it's a PG-13. It has that going for it. Well, I think it might be PG or PG-13. It's PG. It's a family film, but it's PG. It's got that going for it. Not to mention, I'm hearing from people that seats are actually sold out for the Thursday nights, which is very impressive. Has that going for it. Good word of mouth. What the directors and producers did with the redesign, I think that it's going to be very strong. And of course, a sequel is obviously in the works, and Jim Carrey's ready to go. So I think that it'll be a huge success for Paramount. Offer competition to the current crop. Number two, I think that with Detective Pikachu last year, which I watched, and I thought, for what it's worth, it wasn't a great movie, but it was pretty good. And with Sonic, I think that you might see for this decade, as people kind of grow, kind of get over their MCU fatigue, that video game movies might be the next best thing. And I don't think they're gonna risk it like Mario and have a live action with the Mario Brothers, like the one they did when I was like born, or a few years before I was born. But I think it might encourage them to do, a Star Fox film. You might see a Metroid Prime film. I think that'd be pretty cool. But I'm going into like stuff that might be 3D rendered. You could maybe see what else could you see? You could probably also see a Link Legend of Zelda movie. Who knows? But getting to the anthem in the style of this, I think you will. I would hope they do a Star Fox film. But you might see the rise if things play out well. You might see video game films supersede comic book films, especially if producers are like, you know what, we're going to try new things, but we're going to do it with respect to the lore. We're going to do it with respect to the lore. We're not going to drastically change characters. We're not going to do this. We're going to say that, you know what? We trust our story and we trust the story and the history of this character to appeal to all audiences. And we're going to bank on that. And that's exactly what Paramount did. Now they tried it with the first design. They're like, oh dang, people don't like this design. And you know what? Yeah, let's redesign it back to how he looks like. Because people like the way Sonic looks. There's no need to drastically change it. And you know what? From what I've heard about the plot of the film, it pays a lot of homage to the games, to maybe some of the shows. It takes itself very on seriously, which is pretty good. And Jim Carrey does his thing. It's fun, as they say here, fittingly fleet and frequently fun. That's all people want in a film, that especially in genre films like video games and comics. We just want to have some fun. People just want fun in their movies. So I think that moving forward, if things go well, you might see the rise of video game films legit because when we look at video game films, we see that the when people talk about the last real successful video game film, it's always been known as Mortal Kombat Mortal Kombat from 1995. Now the Resident Evil films are a mixed bag because Alice was essentially the main focus, and it was essentially a reboot of the video games, a different take. You would introduce, of course, the classics like Wesker and Claire Redfield and the rest of them, but it was all centered on Alice. So, and people had their issues about that. And for all we know, the Resident Evil films were very much horror films rather than an homage, technically, to the video game that it was taken from. But that's all I have to say. Uh, Thank y'all for watching this movie. Thank y'all for watching this video. Tell me what you guys think. You ready to see this movie? You hyped to see this movie? If you have seen this movie, what do you think? And do you agree that video game movies might be the future moving forward if it follows its current trajectory of Detective Pikachu and now Sonic? So once again, thank you all for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notifications. Make sure you're notified. Once again, I do these reviews for you, the people. I just want to discuss good comics and get your views out there. Well, comics, movies, shows, and whatnot. For videos like this, I want to get your pulse on them. Thank y'all for watching, and I hope to have more videos up tomorrow. Peace.